I can see the green light pop on, but the screen, I don't pop on the screen. So I always feel like I should start talking, but then I don't know if it would register. But I've seen a couple videos where it must have popped on and I was just waiting for the picture to pop up. It was just a couple seconds. So anyways, that meant nothing. I bashed my finger. Hit it with a hammer. I know what you're thinking. Man, it looks cool. I bet you didn't feel any pain at all. You would be wrong on both of those counts. Okay, so Cleopatra just killed herself. Back to Unbiased History. Rome, IX.
At suicide, simply let herself be bit by a venomous snake, cursing Rome once again.
Yes, I know it means 9, by the way. I was just, because somebody's going to go, hey, it's no. Yeah, I got it. It was just.
And she will be back. Octavian would then annex Egypt as his own personal property, later visiting the mausoleum of Alexander the Great, and laughing at his pathetic life. For when Alexander became king, he was 20. When Octavian was adopted by Caesar, he was 19. When Alexander took 13 years to conquer the shithole of the East, Octavian took the same time to subdue the entire Mediterranean. And while Alexander's empire disintegrated the nanosecond after he died, Octavian would lay the foundations for the greatest empire in human history. And so...
By the way, I don't know if you can hear it, but the music that's playing... I just, over the weekend, side note, completely sorry, I broke out the old PlayStation 3, and I played Sid Meier's Civilization, which is, you pick a country, and then you start, and I was America, so Abraham Lincoln was my leader, and we were a, we were like a, is it despot? Yes, we were, not democracy or anything like that, I was just a king, basically, or dictator, however you want. And I was building up my country. I love the game. And I was building up my country. And Alexander the Great, Greece, was next to me. And then on the other side was, she's the queen, Queen of England. Is it Catherine? I'll have to check the name. And then Otto Bismarck with the Germans was another thing. And I was just playing on along, and Bismarck basically was trying to bully me to where I had to pay him like 100 gold coins for 10 turns, and he wouldn't attack me. And I was like, I'm not scared of you. So he started to attack me. So I paid Greece and England to attack him. And I ended up spending, instead of just giving him 100 gold coins, I ended up giving someone 700 and then someone else 600, whichever order it went. And all I did was built up technology until I had riflemen and cannons, and then I went in and I took his capital. I attacked the capital and I took it. It's a great game. On the PlayStation 3, I think it's Sid Meier's Civilization 5, maybe. It's on the PlayStation 3. I keep saying that. Apologies. It's like an arcade compared to, like, this is the PC version, and I don't really dig PC games. I don't really play them. But I mean, oh yeah, you build a civilization. It's great. You start in the year, man, I remember seeing 15 BC. Did I see BC? I don't remember. It ends at the year 2100. But you can win a domination victory by basically wiping out everyone. You can win a cultural victory. I don't remember how you did that one. you can win a economic victory, and then there was a fourth one. I don't remember. I nuked Germany. I took over everything, and they formed one final civilization on an island, and it was just a small island, no bigger than their city, basically. And you can't invade those, so you can never take. So you have to, in order to knock them out completely, you have to nuke them. And I nuked them. I apologize. It has nothing to do with the game, but the music was reminding me of the game and I spent all weekend playing. I played it like 10 times. It was fantastic.
To commemorate his victories, Octavian celebrated 3 triumphs. The first for finally bringing the barbarians of Pannonia to heel, the second together with Agrippa for beating Foe and Cleopatra in Actium, and a third one for the conquest of Egypt, marching Cleopatra's children in chains. Present in these triumphs was his nephew, Marcellus, Octavian's chosen heir, together with his stepson, Tiberius, whom hated triumphs, hated people, hated being alive, but he was Octavian's stepson, so he had to act a part. But just as Octavian's unrivaled accomplishments and republican virtues made him popular with the plebs, so had he driven his enemies to the edge of envy and resentment. They were revolted by the existence of someone so perfect, even more so one whom they owed their lives to. Unable to bear the thought of Octavian returning to Rome triumphant once more, a conspiracy was born, led by Lepidus the Younger, with... Nah, just kidding again. With the civil wars now truly over, Octavian demobilized 32 of his 60 legions, paying their retirement with Egyptian gold and keeping the other 28 legions up to secure the provinces. To thank the gods, Octavian built a temple to Apollo, while Agrippa built a pantheon for all gods. It would later be renovated by Hadrian into the form we see today in Rome. You know, while he wasn't busy either killing Jews, building walls, or fucking twinks. It was in this time that the Aeneid was written by Virgil, a magnificent historical document that detailed the entire saga from Aeneas' departure from Troy to Octavian's rise to power, displaying Rome's divine destiny to civilize the world and bring forth an eternity of order. And now, with peace having been brought to Rome, Octavian could finally resign his consulship, knowing that he did his part. But once the Senate heard that he planned to resign, they begged him to reconsider, falling on their knees and imploring their master to keep giving them orders. Some men are truly servile by nature. Octavian was reluctant, having no real desire for power, but if the people's representatives proclaimed him so indispensable, then it was his duty to answer their call. In 27 BC, the Senate convened to grant Octavian 10 years of proconsular authority over Egypt, Spain, Gaul, Syria, Cilicia, and Cyprus, together with the 20 legions in them stationed, and to cement his authority, they granted him a new title. Octavian's full name from there on would be Imperator Caesar Divi Filius Augustus, the Princeps of the Republic and the first Emperor of the Roman Empire. And now that the Republic's institutions had been safely enveloped into the imperial fold, Augustus, as Rome's first emperor, set about the arduous quest of stabilizing the empire's borders, starting with Hispania, whose border guard just had to be ended, and Augustus didn't care how many illnesses he caught while doing it. He then had to escort Maecenas away after he revealed some information about a plot to his wife, making him untrustworthy. But he had bigger problems to deal with by then, like that ultra-lethal typhoid fever he just contracted now. Laying on his deathbed, and with Marcellus being way too young, Augustus proclaimed Agrippa to be the one to succeed his office as Princeps. But just as his life hanged on the balance, his medic brought the urn containing Caesar's divine ashes, using it to heal Augustus from his fever. Once healthy again, Augustus oversaw another set of reforms to his position. He had no need to be granted continuous consulships, but humbly asked to be nothing more than a permanent tribune, and proconsular authority in whatever province he physically found himself in. And what's a better way to celebrate it than to have your intended heir die of food poisoning, killed by your own wife no less. Why did she do it? To have her son Tiberius be the heir, of course, whom Augustus always kept at the bottom of his list for potential heirs. And with his daughter now widowed, Augustus remarried her to Agrippa, with whom they would have 5 children, among them Gaius and Lucius, whom Augustus adopted as his heirs. In his next step to stabilize the empire's borders, he set to deal with Parthia, as had once Crassus, Caesar, and Anthony. Augustus' approach was swift and simple. First, he sent Tiberius to restore Armenia as a client kingdom, then started to deploy more and more legions on Syria, then contacted the Parthian king, offering him a choice: He could either return Crassus's eagle standards and agree to peaceful relations, or he could refuse and have war against the full might of a united Rome with vengeance in their eyes. As you can see portrayed here, the Parthian king then returned all eagle standards and ran back to his desert shithole. And in order to prevent any further conspiracies while Augustus settled the empire's problems, he created the Praetorian Guard. The historians in the audience know well where this will lead, but let's enjoy it while they were loyal bodyguards, because they won't be for fucking long. But Augustus himself would remain uncorrupted, constantly spending his fortunes to build roads throughout the empire, making so that all roads led to Rome. But there was another issue, beyond the realm of the provinces. It was the hard fact that Rome had become a degenerate cesspool of adultery. Long gone were the traditional conservative Roman families with a strong father and an obedient mother that birthed many children. These days, most Roman women just spread their legs for anything resembling a dildo, refusing to have many, if any, children at all. As a man far ahead of his time, Augustus predicted that such degenerate behavior would eventually bring forth the destruction of the state. So Augustus used his powers to reward all families that maintained their virtues, and punish those who didn't. Not that his anti-degeneracy policies achieved much, it was a lost cause by then. But not for his stepsons Drusus and Tiberius though, both of whom married and had their own kids. Among them Germanicus, named so for his father's victories in Germania. What victories, you ask? Well, you see, after a legate got defeated by some invading Germs in Gaul, Augustus had had enough of the barbarians up north. As he surveyed a map of the northern provinces, he concluded the ideal imperial borders were defined by the Danube and Elbe rivers, providing a near impenetrable barrier from the lawless lands beyond. And so, Augustus set towards the quest that would consume the rest of his natural life: civilizing Germania. For this enormous task, he sent both of his stepsons, Tiberius and Drusus, whom assisted each other in finally conquering the Alpine tribes for the empire, extending its borders to include the provinces of Raetia and Noricum. In Raetia, the brothers quickly learned of the Germanic unwillingness of being civilized, expelling as many Germs up north as they could. And while they do that, tell me, remember Lepidus? He just died about nowish, so Augustus inherited his title as Pontifex Maximus. Just saying. And say, do you remember when Augustus conquered Pannonia? Yeah, he sent Agrippa to mop up some resistance there, only for him to be secretly poisoned by Livia and die just like that. The loss of his most trusted general and closest friend broke the emperor's heart, and it was all downhill from here. To secure his family's integrity, Augustus made Tiberius divorce his wife and marry Julia, whom he hated for being an adulterer whore, but the emperor didn't know, so didn't understand why Tiberius was complaining so much as he took command over Pannonia. All while Drusus spent his days campaigning over the Rhine, slaughtering all Germs he could find between it and the Elbe, including the Cherusci, whose prince he took as hostage. And while he would have him killed if he could, Drusus hoped that if a Germ could be brought from a young enough age into the legions, fought alongside Romans and lived alongside Romans, then he would eventually be civilized. And so, that boy would be raised as a legionnaire, given the name Arminius. Back in Rome, Drusus' success was greatly scaring Livia, as he robbed the emperor's attention from her favorite son. And while he was busy renaming a month after himself, Livia bribed a soldier into her service, sending him north. And while Drusus took a stride through the woods, the assassin suddenly knocked him off his horse. Mortally injured, Drusus died a few weeks later, leaving his family at the hands of his eldest son, Germanicus. Drusus' death was yet another heavy blow for Augustus, but by no means the last. Maecenas' death came soon after, leaving him with no old friends to speak of. And to make matters worse, the Parthians were meddling with Armenia once again, and when he sent Tiberius to deal with it, he refused, and exiled himself to Rhodes. Why? To get away from his whore of a wife, that's why. Whom Augustus just didn't realize for who she was, banishing her and all her lovers from Rome. But thankfully, the emperor still had his grandchildren to rely on, so he sent Gaius to Armenia instead, where Livia would bribe his own soldiers to kill him during a siege. Lucius would later get infected with a fever by Livia's orders while in Gaul, and also die. Postumus, following Livia's advice, grew up to be a vicious little cunt, so he had to be banished. And Julia the Younger, also listening to Livia, became as much of a degenerate whore as her mother, getting banished as well. Livia forgot to ruin Agrippina though, and so Augustus happily married her to Germanicus. But now that Livia had deprived Augustus of just about enough potential heirs, he was forced to recall Tiberius to Rome as his heir, whom, after hearing of Julia's banishment, had no more reasons to exile himself. The only condition was that Tiberius adopted Germanicus as his heir, so that the empire would be ruled by Julians again after him. Yeah, Germanicus won't be long for this world. Back to the provinces, Augustus later sent Tiberius to Pannonia, where a huge rebellion had broken out. And I do mean huge. 1 million rebels, like fuck me dude. Later sending Germanicus to help crush it, alongside most of the empire's legions.
Wow.
During the revolt, Arminius would distinguish himself as a competent and loyal soldier, later promoted to serve beside the new commander of the 3 remaining Rhine legions, Publius Quintilius Varus. With the conquest of Germania so close to being finished, Arminius took this chance that most legions had been sent away, to show his true colors. Maintaining his farce, he convinced Varus to let the German tribes host a cohort each for the winter, having them all slaughtered in his back. Later telling him of a fake rebellion in the north, deep inside the Teutoburg forest. Honor-bound and dismissing his officers' alerts, Varus went down the path Arminius had suggested, crossing a swamp-wild owl formation, surrounded by dark forests, and right into his ambush. With a genocidal drive inherent to their being, the Germanic hordes overran the Romans, slaughtering all the defenseless soldiers, hunting down the survivors in the forest, lives sacrificing the officers to satiate their evil gods of chaos, and destroying every last shred of civilization the Romans had brought with them beyond the Rhine. Betrayed and beaten, Varus grabbed hold of his sword and took his own life. When news of the catastrophe reached Augustus, the emperor was broken for a final time, traumatized by the sheer evil displayed by the Germans. He secluded himself in the imperial palace, stopped eating for days and shaving for months. His mission to civilize Germania had failed. The ideal imperial borders would never be reached. Forever the Germans would remain as the irredeemable enemies of all that is civilized and good. As his last years passed by, Augustus would occasionally lay on a dark corner of the wall and scream.
Varus. Oh! Quintus Varus, give me back my legions!
At the height of his depression, he would pay a secret visit to his last living grandson, Postumus, who had by then repented of his violent ways. But Livia quickly found out and chose to secure her son's position as heir once and for all. As Augustus traveled through Italy, he passed by Nola, the city his biological father had died in so long ago, eating away the figs he so enjoyed. But by then, his wife's poison had already kicked in. Augustus struggled as long as he could, but he continued to lose strength, his mind slowly wavering. After a lifetime of transforming Rome from a city of bricks into one of marble, he whispered his final words. Have I played the part well? Then applaud as I exit.
Damn. That was sad. That was really sad. Don't end it on a sad note, please. Please don't end it on a sad note. Oh, you son of a bitch. Wait a minute.
Give me back! Give me back! Give me back me legions!
Yep. He ends it on a sad one, doesn't he? God damn. Alright. It's 7:30. I got a couple more. Couple more of these in me, maybe. Alright, I'm gonna end this here. That was good. I didn't like how it ended so sad. I was really liking him. Okay. Like and subscribe. And until the next video, have a good day, have a good night.